Yeah, so my journey, like a lot of fighters, has been a long one. Growing up wrestling and then getting into jiu-jitsu, I wasn't exactly sure where I was taking it, but pretty much once I started striking and then I gave my first amateur fight a go, I really, felt that I found my calling. I found what I wanted to do. So my first fight was a good, notable one. I fought in the Blue Lake Casino up in Northern California. It was on the Indian reservation before the Camo Amateur League came out in California here, and I didn't know much about my opponent. They had told me he was a 0-0 fighter, and I get out there and it turns out this guy had already had 3 pro fights, 2-1 record, and we were fighting as the main event. So right off the bat, I got a pretty good introduction into like the nerves of it all, jumping into the cage, having that cage door closed behind you. And really after I came out on top on that fight, my passion was cemented for the sport. I loved MMA. So after that fight, I started getting amateur fights at Dragon House, which is a local show up here in San Francisco. And I fought my way through 4 more amateur fights. Then I turned pro. Had again my next 5 fights as a pro in 4 fights as a pro at Dragon House. Then I got the call from Bellator and I started fighting for them. Half Moon Bay is great, man. I think I owe a lot of my success to Half Moon Bay. It's a small town. There's not a lot of people. It's a beach town. It's got a kind of more relaxed, mellow vibe to it. At the same time, a bunch of the kids out here are growing tough. The wrestling program's always been killer. The scraps are, everyone in here that's in the gym training is always tough. They're not pussyfooting around or whatever you'd want to say. So Half Moon Bay is great. I love living out here. I love being in the nature and having the opportunity to be at the beach or be in the mountains and just have a relaxed vibe instead of always living in the city life. Yeah, so my previous fight was the first fight that I've ever done on national TV. And I used to joke around saying, I've always wanted to fight on TV, and now that I'm fighting on TV, nobody has cable anymore, right? Everyone's only online. So it was kind of bittersweet for a second, but, it really hit home after the fight because I had a good amount of friends and family contact me either through Facebook or text message or whatever saying that they got to see the fight. And to me, in my career, that's amazing because of my early fights. You can't see my fights unless if you were there for the most part in my early professional fights. So being on the televised portion, it's amazing. It doesn't feel any different during the moment, but definitely after fact and just knowing about it, it's an honor. It feels good. Yeah, that was it's definitely something unique to me. I've never been really in the spotlight that much, so to have it like in being kind of thrown around the internet, having people kind of commenting on it, talking about it, was really something special for me. It was really cool. I remember the feeling when it happened, right? Because when I was choking the guy, his blood kind of like squirted out of his head. I remember seeing it out at the corner of my eye and thinking, well, that was different, but not really realizing the implications that it had. And within those next couple of days, I was, it was cracking me up. It felt good. It felt really good to get a little recognition. So my camp is a little different than some. I live out here in Half Moon Bay, but my main training is in AKA down in San Jose, so it's about an hour away. I'm out there training with Josh Thompson, who obviously is fighting on the same card as me. He's, the co-main event, and there's just names and names and names over there, one of the best gyms in the world. So I'm getting a lot of wrestling sparring, striking sparring, MMA sparring, jiu-jitsu sparring out with those guys. Just recently we had all the Russians in town for the past UFC. So we had Khabib and Islam and a bunch of these really tough guys out from Dagestan. And just training with those guys of that caliber has really helped to push me up to my, I think, working towards my potential. But at the same time, I'm still here in Half Moon Bay training with my coach, Raul Castillo, who is an amazing black belt in jiu-jitsu and really kind of my organizer, my head coach, the guy who's kind of, organizing my camp and having me do what I need to be doing in order to get prepared. I train here in San Francisco as well with Kenya Proc, who's a Muay Thai master, old school from Cambodia. His striking, in my opinion, is second to none. So learning from him and then being able to apply it with all the tough guys at AKA, I find is my best recipe. And then on top of all that, I'm doing my conditioning over here in Pacifica, which is the town over, with Chris Shaw and Turnover Fitness, and that he's a scientist in his own craft, and the way I see it is he's a black belt in conditioning. So I feel like I really have a strong balance between all the different people of my team. Yeah, beating Jordan Parsons is definitely the next step. I take every fight very seriously. I never look past anybody. So May 14th is my next step. That's the only date in my life that matters right now. Putting Jordan Parsons away is going to be it's going to be huge to me. It's going to be, as far as emotionally goes, I'll be filled. I'll be exuberant like I always am, because I put my heart, my soul, my life into every single fight that I do. I absolutely cannot wait for this day to come. It can't come soon enough. I cannot wait to put this guy away. And then after that, we can see what's next. Yeah, I just want to give a shout out to all my sponsors. Thank you guys for your support. Savage 3 Cryotherapy in San Jose. On It, of course. They've been a big support. NorCal Fight Shop. All my trainers that support me, Terra Nova Fitness, Kenya Proc Muay Thai, Raul Castillo Martial Arts. Big thanks to Dr. Aaron Jogas for, always taking care of me in the chiropractic field. If you guys are on the coast there, he's the best. Big shout out to my boy Toby Larson from Fit Mind Training. His mental preparation is second to none. I owe a ton of my success to that man. Thanks, Toby. Thanks, Fit Mind Training. You guys check him out at fitmindtraining.com.